I'm a hardcore gaming addict, and I've played pretty much everything from Contra's old school classics to Cuphead's hand-drawn insanity when it comes to run and gun games. I think my fellow gamers would agree that the real charm of the genre comes from the games that are pure chaos. The ones where you have to move fast and shoot faster in order to proceed. Yeah, it's a test of your patience and reflexes. But where's the fun without the sore thumbs and throbbing heads after hours of screen time, eh? Well, this video is about to be a celebration of some forgotten classics of the genre, and I promise you that the following run and gun games will take you back in time. Alien Fish Finger, 1995. While this one might be more of an obscure title, I'm pretty sure that most of you know more about popular hits like Alien Shooter and Force of Nature. Well, Alien Fish Finger is a side-scrolling run and gun with similar vibes, and here you play as a soldier on a hostile alien world completing missions before extraction, with minimal story focus to stress on pure action. The game stands out for its enemy AI system that learns from your tactics and adapts behavior accordingly, creating an organic difficulty curve. You must shoot enemies multiple times to defeat them, and grenades add destructive options beyond standard gunfire. The shareware routes give it a distinctly different feel from commercial titles, with impressive animation quality for a PD game. Overall, Alien Fish Finger earned a quiet cult following among retro enthusiasts, and I think it deserves to be celebrated, even with the low availability. Rough and Tumble, 1994. Rough and Tumble follows 8-year-old Ruff Rogers, who must recover his marbles from an alien planet controlled by Dr. Destiny and his tin heads across 16 whimsical levels. I particularly love how this side-scrolling platform run and gun combines precise platforming with shooting mechanics, featuring a marble collection system where gathering specific color quantities adds strategic depth beyond survival. The weapon system is robust, with machine guns and flamethrowers found as pickups, changing tactical approaches significantly. Responsive controls make Ruff nimble, and detailed arcade-style graphics showcase the Amiga beautifully. The main shortcomings include simplistic mechanics, inconsistent difficulty balance, and an underdeveloped narrative. But trust me when I say that you can simply ignore these flaws. Assassin Special Edition, 1994. Assassin Special Edition is a completely redesigned 1994 remake where you play as an elite assassin tasked with infiltrating Maidan's headquarters to disable the power source before the final confrontation. This is low-key one of my favourites in the genre, as this side-scrolling action platformer distinguishes itself through a razor-edged boomerang weapon thrown in any direction that returns to your hand, forcing creative positioning and timing. The assassin can climb walls and ceilings, adding vertical exploration possibilities, while 3 difficulty levels unlock different game portions with varying challenges and rewards. The boomerang weapon became iconic among fans, though some found it weaker than expected and requiring excessive hits. I might complain about the steep learning curves with unfairly difficult boss encounters, repetitive level progression, and graphics that don't showcase the Amiga's full capabilities impressively, but these don't really take away the overall goodness of the game. Core, 1993. As someone who enjoys the retro feel of the game, I really appreciated this space-themed platformer. One could say that modern homages like Shovel Knight and Pizza Tower serve as a tribute to this classic. Deep Core presents Captain Dawnraiser receiving a mission briefing to descend through 9 alien-invaded underwater nuclear research base levels, retrieving critical data and defeating extraterrestrial invaders. This futuristic platform action game emphasizes visual spectacle alongside gameplay, featuring detailed pixel art and impressive animation work. Environmental hazards complement enemy encounters, forcing tactical thinking about positioning and weapon choice. There have been criticisms about the inconsistent difficulty without clear progression, and underwhelming boss encounters failing to provide satisfying climaxes, but I'd argue that they don't deter the gaming experience. Rubicon, 1992. Rubicon follows an elite commando deployed behind enemy lines on a military mission, and as you can understand, action dominates the story here, much to my delight. This side-scrolling run-and-gun developed by Enigma Software and published by 21st Century Entertainment represents a straightforward approach. Run right, shoot everything, avoid hazards, with straightforward progression driven by enemy elimination. The artwork by Mark K. Jones is genuinely beautiful, with detailed backgrounds and atmospheric environments, complemented by Charles Denon's driving musical accompaniment. Amiga enthusiasts appreciated the production values and decent action sequences, though reviewers noted the gameplay felt simplistic and lacked innovation compared to contemporaries. Well, if I must find flaws, I'll talk about the overly straightforward core gameplay without depth, inconsistent difficulty balance, and the forgettable boss encounters. Orc, 1991. Games like Bradicus and Pteropods probably offer a similar gaming experience, but I'll always put Orc ahead in the league. The game casts you as Ku Kabul, a young alien cadet completing 5 brutal survival training stages on the hostile planet Ixion to prove yourself worthy of becoming a Legion Command officer, with failure meaning permanent removal. Ku Kabul is equipped with twin laser cannons and refuelable jet boosters with limited fuel and ammunition, requiring careful resource management. Stunning 3-layer parallax scrolling at arcade speed creates visual spectacle, with larger-than-screen enemies creating awe-inspiring moments. Amiga enthusiasts praised impressive technical presentation and engaging puzzle solving, comparing favorably to Shadow of the Beast while standing independently. Personally, I'd have called this game perfect had it not been for the slow pacing, which can be a bummer. Jim Power in Mutant Planet, 1992. This game follows action hero Jim navigating a hostile alien world filled with mutated creatures across 5 distinct environments with different atmospheric qualities. It uniquely features multiple contrasting gameplay modes within a single title, side-view platforming, top-down perspectives, and horizontal shoot-'em-up sections, providing substantial variety. The Chris Hulsbeck soundtrack is genuinely superb, with memorable melodies complementing on-screen action. Smooth scrolling with impressive parallax effects creates cinematic pseudo-3D presentation, while detailed fluid character animation shows Jim moving convincingly through each environment. However, I must point out that the critics noted that the gameplay mechanics feel somewhat uninspired, and the clunky top-down controls and completely absent narrative don't help the case. Myth. History in the Making, 1992. Myth, History in the Making features an ambitious narrative spanning multiple mythological eras where you play as Ancalagan, using Stonehenge mystical powers to travel through time, combating evil forces threatening history itself. Journeying through ancient Greece, Norse Viking Age, Egyptian pyramids, and mythical underworld locations. Each level requires finding a specific magic orb to progress, facing thematically appropriate mythical enemies like skeletons, demons, mummies, and Vikings, with boss battles against legendary creatures including Medusa, Thor, and the Hydra. Different weapons appear throughout: swords for close combat, guns for ranged attacks, and fireballs for special attacks. Had it not been for the cryptic puzzle solving with non-obvious solutions, inconsistent difficulty curves, and frustratingly cheap enemy encounters, I would have rated this one very highly. Walker, 1993. Walker tells a straightforward military science fiction story where you control AG-9, Walker, a massive bipedal mech sent back through time to alter history, progressing through 1944 Berlin, 2019 Los Angeles, a Middle Eastern conflict zone, and 2420 apocalyptic Earth, each presenting thematically appropriate enemies and challenges. The Walker moves right to left, unusually for side-scrollers, which initially feels disorienting, but becomes intuitive pretty quickly. Dual 30mm cannons heat up with sustained fire, forcing heat management, while lock-on missiles provide alternative firepower with tracking capabilities. Shield systems deplete when enemies attack across 3 lives. Amiga Power ranked Walker among their top 100 games of 1993, praising technical achievements and engaging gameplay. However, criticism emerged regarding repetitiveness, inconsistent difficulty, and overly complex controls. I still think this is a game worth trying out for the fans of the genre. The Killing Game Show, 1990. The game presents a dystopian premise where humans are forced into deadly televised games, with you controlling a robo-contestant navigating an elaborate arena with traps, hostile artificial life forms, and constantly rising deadly acid threatening elimination. Developed by Raising Hell Software and published by Psygnosis, this unique blend of platforming, puzzle solving, and action emphasizes tactical thinking about positioning and resource management, with ammunition being limited and drops infrequent. Multiple weapon types discovered throughout levels allow tactical customization, with score-based gameplay encouraging replaying for high scores. Contemporary reviews praised the unique premise and engaging gameplay loop. However, the rising acid gimmick becomes predictable after playthroughs, reducing novel appeal. I also think that the graphics could be better, but all in all, it's still an underrated gem worth revisiting. Fire Force 1992. Here, you are positioned as an elite Special Forces operative, dropped behind enemy lines, completing varied military missions across multiple theaters, destroying installations, eliminating targets, rescuing hostages, and marking positions for aerial strikes. This horizontally scrolling military action game, developed by Dave Gibbons and Steve Day, emphasizes preparation and tactical planning before missions begin, requiring appropriate weapon and equipment selection. Grenades, demolition packs, and health items carry within weight limits, forcing tactical loadout decisions. You search defeated enemies for additional ammunition or completely new weapons while avoiding landmines and destroying bridges, preventing reinforcements. I'm a fan of the military realism and sophisticated mission structure, but the excessively dark night missions make enemy visibility nearly impossible, could have been improved. Metal Law 1992. Metal Law maintains deliberately minimal narrative. You are an unspecified soldier deployed to neutralize threats across various military environments with little exposition beyond an opening arrest proclamation. Graphics by Mark K. Jones are impressively detailed for the Amiga, with colorful sprites and animated backgrounds creating pleasant visual presentation. I also love the soundtrack by Charles Deanan, Maniacs of Noise, that provides enthusiastic accompaniment, while responsive controls make jumping and dodging feel smooth and predictable. Multiple enemy types present different combat challenges requiring tactical positioning. Yeah, one could argue that the game is overly simplistic and the repetitive action becomes dull quickly with minimal variation, but the shallow gameplay aside, it's still a solid entertainer. Pegasus 1991. This game has a mythological premise where you play as the legendary Pegasus, tasked with defeating evil Satan Lord, seeking ultimate power, journeying through 4 different mystical realms controlled by demonic forces, with magical artifact collection driving progression. The design philosophy emphasizes accessibility without sacrificing challenge. Newcomers enjoy the experience, while skilled players face substantial difficulty. Pegasus features impressive graphical presentation for 1991, with detailed sprite animation and colorful backgrounds. The protagonist's flying mechanics feel responsive and intuitive, making air combat and navigation smooth. Boss encounters feature impressive sprite work and memorable designs. Amiga fans appreciated visual presentation and responsive gameplay with mythological setting differentiation. However, I wouldn't be completely honest if I said that the game is flawless, because the underdeveloped story beyond setup, relatively straightforward gameplay without innovation or depth, and late-stage difficulty can be a mood killer. Maybe try it out for yourself and see how you like it. Midnight Resistance 1990. As someone who's a huge fan of the Contra series and games like Metal Slug and Gunstar Heroes, Midnight Resistance felt like it was right in my comfort zone. The game casts either Nameless Brothers, Arcade, or protagonist Johnny Ford, Commodore 64, rescuing a family kidnapped by drug kingpin King Crimson. This side-scrolling run-and-gun features distinctive rotatable joystick mechanism, allowing players adjusting aiming direction independently of movement direction, borrowed from Ikari Warriors, creating strategic depth. The protagonist can crawl along low ledges, adding vertical movement options, while multiple weapons collected from defeated enemies feature different characteristics, though ammunition must be purchased at shops, an innovative progression system. Cooperative 2-player gameplay supports coordinated assault on enemy forces across arcade and some home versions. If you have the patience for multiple playthroughs, well, you're gonna have a gala time with this one. Persian Gulf Inferno. The North Sea Inferno. 1989. Persian Gulf Inferno presents a geopolitical crisis where terrorists captured the world's largest oil reserve, threatening atomic detonation unless demands are met, with you as humanity's last hope, infiltrating the facility, eliminating terrorists, and defusing the weapon. This side-scrolling, action-shooting game emphasizes facility exploration with multi-room layouts requiring careful navigation and combat. You begin equipped with a handgun, acquiring more powerful weapons like SPAS, semi-automatic shotguns and machine guns providing upgraded firepower with different tactical characteristics. Grenades and explosives enable destructive approaches while terrorist AI demonstrates reasonable intelligence with cover-seeking and return fire rather than simple approaching. Hostage rescue provides optional humanitarian objectives. Contemporary reviews were generally positive, appreciating the military premise and action-oriented gameplay, though critics noted lacking polish or innovation. As for me, well, I wasn't a fan of the clunky controls, but I still enjoyed hours spent on this game, and I even got the hang of it after a while. The Plague, 1990. This game comes with an interesting science fiction scenario where a mysterious cosmic plague threatens existence, tasking you traveling through contaminated zones confronting the plague's source, a massive alien organism, across 4 visually distinct, increasingly hazardous levels, culminating in a dramatic climax against an impressively designed metallic wasp boss. Visually rich, with colourful backgrounds and detailed sprite work, showcasing Amiga capabilities, the title screen music is genuinely impressive, exceeding many contemporaries. Multiple different weapons allow tactical variety, while smart bombs provide temporary invulnerability safety valves. Enemy variety keeps combat fresh with different attack patterns, while the final massive metallic wasp boss features stunning animation, becoming one of the era's most impressive game bosses. The Plague developed a devoted cult following among enthusiasts, with modern retrospectives praising it as an underrated gem worthy of rediscovery. I couldn't agree more, even though I would have liked it better with a more concrete narrative. Venus, the Flytrap, 1990. I honestly think that this is one of the most bizarre storylines in the genre, and here, humanity destroyed Earth through overpopulation and pollution, sending robotic flies through contaminated landscapes, cleaning mutated creatures and plants across 8 distinct worlds, including forbidden forests, frozen wastes, caverns, and Death Valley. Early levels introduce mechanics gradually, while progression intensifies platforming requirements in later levels with complex jumping sequences and hazard navigation. Character control feels responsive and intuitive, with the fly protagonist moving smoothly across terrain. Multiple weapon types acquired from enemies feature distinct characteristics and strategic advantages, while power-ups appear frequently, providing enhanced weaponry, faster movement, extra lives, or occasionally reversed controls. I wish the game didn't have an inconsistent difficulty progression, with substantial challenge jump from level 3 onward, cheap platforming sections with unavoidable hazards apparent only through trial and error, and occasional sluggish controls. But this is not some timeless classic, but just an entertaining run-and-gun game that you can enjoy for the good old times. Navy SEALs. Navy SEALs, based on the 1990 film, follows Lieutenant Dale Hawkins through 5-level missions recovering hidden Stinger missile caches from Arab terrorists in Oman, expanding beyond weapon retrieval with hostage rescue elements and 3D presentation sequences, recreating cinematic film moments. Multiple playable characters appear throughout, with slightly different abilities, while level variety includes outdoor missions, hostage rescue sequences, and 3D presented city exploration, preventing gameplay staleness. Your primary objective involves locating and placing time bombs on missile caches before escaping detonation. Hidden crates contain machine guns, rocket launchers, and flamethrowers, providing upgraded firepower from basic handgun starts. You know what? I'm in love with the graphics and overall presentation, but the game does have its share of issues that might have been better handled by the developers. Astral. The story of Astral introduces a dark sci-fi scenario where ancient demon Molasar was imprisoned in a mystical land, Magoon, centuries ago. Once it became liberated, it forced you to journey through the realm, confronting and defeating this ancient evil once more. This side-scrolling platform game with science fiction and shooter elements represents one of the later Amiga releases, coming near the system's commercial end. The relatively straightforward action platformer emphasizes exploration and combat through linear progression moving left to right through each stage, featuring various environmental challenges and enemy encounters requiring platform skills and shooting accuracy. Astral maintained positive reputation among late-era Amiga enthusiasts, with contemporary reviewers appreciating polished presentation and competent gameplay. The lack of innovation is hard to ignore, but these games weren't really about redesigning the genre. Cyberpunks. I've always been fascinated by this game and how it brings in a cyberpunk-themed action scenario where you and two allies infiltrate an underground facility controlled by hostile alien invaders. Developed by Mutation and published by Core Design in 1993, this top-down shooter uniquely allows controlling 3 characters simultaneously. The game functions as an arcade action game rather than complex puzzle adventure, with progression driven by enemy elimination and key item acquisition, distinguishing through unique triple character control system. Door passes must be located, accessing new areas, creating exploration-driven progression, while colourful graphics with Japanese cartoon aesthetic create visually engaging environments. The game features decent enemy variety, from simple aliens to heavily armoured opponents, with boss encounters concluding each zone, providing satisfying climactic moments. Cyberpunks develops a modest cult following among Amiga enthusiasts, with contemporary reviewers appreciating unique triple character control and colourful aesthetic. However, shortcomings include confusing multi-character simultaneous management, particularly during hectic combat, limited guidance, leaving players confused about coordination, and frustratingly difficult later levels without clear progression. I still rate this game pretty highly, but I'll understand if the flaws outweigh the entertainment factor for you. Marvelous verdict. End of an era. I know that the gaming industry has developed and moved leaps and bounds from these 90s classics, but I also respect the nostalgia factor. I've spent thousands of hours mastering these games, and even though many of them might feel irrelevant today, I still stand by my wonderful experience. These games were the pioneers who set the bar high, and what the gamers enjoy today is a fruit of the effort spent in perfecting these. Let me know in the comments below which ones from this list are your favourites, and also share your views on the modern day counterparts in the genre.